What's up, guys? We got trade deadlines, we got buy, sell, hold, we got waiver wires, and we got sit starts this week. And we have a great guest. Stay tuned.
Fantasy football, you dealing with the best. Keep it hype, authentic, this ain't nothing like the rest. With the Armchair Fantasy Show podcast, give advice for all the listeners to improve your stats. Yeah, we live on GoingFor2.com. Tuesdays and Fridays, this is what you want. Talking dynasties and daily drafts, and we just getting started, that ain't even the half. Yeah, so go ahead, tell your friends to join. Going for two, cause no one remembers the extra point. Hey, GoingFor2.com, the Armchair Fantasy Show.
What's going on, guys? All right, welcome to episode 116 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. We are here every Tuesday and Friday night on Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook Live, and of course streaming in the GoingFor2 app for iOS and Android. All right, I'm here as always with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Searfoss. Ryan, how you doing today, man?
Great, man. It's nice to be back after a week hiatus. I got Ravens' big win over the Patriots. Florida State fired their coach. It was a good weekend, man.
Yeah, we missed you last week. We had to have 3 guests on to replace you last week.
I mean, big time, I guess.
Good stuff. All right, also joining us is a first-time guest. He is from DynastyFootballFactory.com and the Capology 101 podcast. Mr. Jason Waltner, man, how you doing tonight, Jason?
I'm doing well, guys. Can't complain. Had a good weekend. Cowboys won yesterday, which was good. Big Georgia fan. Georgia beat Florida, which was great.
I'm happy. I'm always happy to see Florida lose.
And then actually right now as we speak, one of my best friends, his son plays for Kentucky basketball, so he's making his freshman debut tonight.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Good
so pretty good week.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, let's go ahead and just kind of give you a chance to talk about yourself a little bit. Tell me what you do over at Dynasty Football Factory, and tell me about the podcast as well and what y'all do over there.
Yeah, sure. First, you can find me on Twitter at DFFJWaltner. Same handle for Instagram as well. I am the Senior Director of Public Relations for the website, as well as a co-host for Capology 101, where we just break down the NFL salary cap to try to give everyone an edge over their league mates. Because at the end of the day, the NFL is a business. So a lot of people don't know the intricacies of these NFL deals, where, guys sign a 5-year deal, but it's not really a 5-year deal and things like that. So we want to give them that information so people can trade a year early rather than a year late and stay ahead of their league that way. So, and like I said, it's Capology 101. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and at the Capology 101 handle on Twitter.
Sweet.
And I'll have to say it's awesome stuff. I was on the show back when you guys did the team previews. Your way of grading players and teams was fantastic. It was so easy, but it made so much sense, and no one's doing it.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Nice. I definitely need to check it out. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I definitely will add it to my list of podcasts to listen to. Because I kind of look forward. I go to Spot Track or Spo Track. I go there a lot looking at contracts for next year to see, who could possibly be moving, or if someone's moving, who's going to benefit. Those kind of things, because I'm always like trying to be ahead of my league. So those are the kind of things I like to listen to. So good stuff. All right, we got a bunch to get into. So let's go ahead and get to the news and notes, guys.
News and notes from around the league.
All right, guys. Well, speaking of contracts, there's a guy that's just got put on IR. And from what I'm hearing, if they cut this quarterback, they will save $20 million by cutting him. Of course, we're talking about Cam Newton. Jason, we'll go to you on this one. What are your thoughts on Cam Newton going to IR? How does this affect your receivers like DJ Moore, et cetera, going forward? And what do you think of Cam Newton next year getting cut possibly?
Oh, well, they will save about $19 million. I think it's like $19.2 million if they do cut him, which I'll be honest, I fully anticipate. Because honestly, as far as the receivers and everything, I believe Kyle Allen fits Turner's system a lot better than Cam Newton does. Me personally, I never thought Cam Newton was that accurate with deep throwing quarterback. I mean, yeah, sure, his completion percentages were going up last year and this year, or not this year, but last year. But yeah, I never was a big Cam Newton guy. I understand he got the running yards and touchdowns and everything like that, but it's like if he didn't get those yards or touchdowns for you, he really wasn't very consistent. So yeah, and where he goes, I'll be honest, I have absolutely zero clue. A lot of people say Chicago. I just really do not see that happening from a standpoint, unless the GM were to get fired. Ryan Pace, I believe is his name, because GMs are pretty stubborn most of the time, and he drafted Trubisky, traded up to get Trubisky, so he will live and die with Trubisky. So I Cam, where he goes, I got no clue. It's really up in the air. I mean, if they someone wants to sign him as a bridge quarterback, maybe one of these teams that draft a guy so he can sit a year, kind of like Mahomes did. Which I don't know why teams don't do that anymore. But, yeah, possibly like that. But other than that, man, Cam's a big enigma right now.
Yeah, exactly. And, you talking about his running ability. I mean, basically that's what made him fantasy relevant was his running ability. And with all the injuries he's had lately, he's not going to be that same guy. He got the shoulder injury. He's got this Liz Frank injury now. So if he's not running and he's just a pocket passer coming back, you're not going to want him on your fantasy team. And I have heard one team mentioned, only because I live in this area. I live in near Washington, D.C. Redskins fans are all over radio talking about get Cam Newton next year. Get Cam Newton next year. I don't know why they would want it, but Redskins fans always want the washed up quarterback to come here in D.C. and try to do something. So interesting stuff there.
I mean, a Cowboys fan, to be honest, I don't see that happening just because the owner and GM handpicked Haskins. So why would they do that? Because
of the Redskins, man. They're a hot mess. They're really. If you lived out here and heard some of the things that they do out here, it's ridiculous. I mean, they're not even committing to Haskins as the start of the rest of the season. They're like, maybe we'll start him, maybe we won't start him. It's a disaster out here.
Well, I guess maybe if they're looking for a bridge, Cam would be a good guy to do that. I just think another team will sign him to more than like a 1 year deal.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Ryan, let's go to a quarterback that's on IR to a quarterback that's coming back. Nick Foles returns. He puts an official end to Minshew Mania. He'll be back. Of course, they're on a bye week this past week, and he comes back. What are your thoughts on this offense going forward? I mean, they've looked pretty decent with Minshew in there. Nick Foles, we think, is an upgrade. But what about these fancy options that we have here?
It's not the fact that it's an upgrade, and I think it's more of the fact on what receivers he's vibing with. Because Minshew loved DJ Shark and made him into a super relevant receiver. We don't know if it's going to be Keelan Cole. I know D.D. Westbrook's hurt, but he will be back. If it's going to be him or who it's going to be in that offense, who Foles is going to gravitate to. That's what the big question is going to be for me. I think they'll lean a little more heavy on the run, especially with him coming back, getting his feet wet again. But I don't understand the move. You're a young team. I don't see them as a championship caliber team. Why not see what you have when the kid's been playing well?
I'll tell you why. There's 11 million reasons why. Because he's getting paid $11 million this year. That's why he's starting.
I guess, yeah. But I hope it works out. I hope he gets that connection with Shark back because he's the one I'm most concerned for. Yeah,
agreed. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he get hurt on a play where he threw a deep bomb to Shark, and that's the play that ended him? So we can hopefully get some of that going forward.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the next. We get some receivers here. Brandon Cooks, another concussion. I think this is his second one this year. I think it's his fourth one over the last couple of years. It's not looking good for Week 10. There's no timetable for his return. What are we looking for in this Rams offense? Is Josh Reynolds just a plug-and-play for you, Jason?
Who's that, Yahoo?
Josh Reynolds.
I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I mean, we're talking about what Brandon. I mean, if anything, I'm going Robert Woods before I go anyone else in that offense for a wide receiver. He's the most relevant one there. I mean, maybe Everett gets a tick up now. But other than that, I'm not picking any other receiver in that offense. No thanks.
Yeah, agreed. I think Reynolds is only in a deep league or if you're like in a tight bind because there is a bunch of teams on bye this week, so you might have a situation where you need to plug somebody in there, but only in emergency cases. He needs a touchdown basically to be relevant, and I don't think he might not get it this week. Sticking with the receivers, we had a big trade. It's been a little bit since we've been on, so we had a big trade, and of course, I'm sorry, not a trade, a waiver wire signing. Josh Gordon going to Seattle. What are your thoughts on Josh Gordon in Seattle, Ryan?
I think I'm selling him if I have him in fantasy anywhere because of the fact Russ has been fantastic this year, but Russ isn't a volume passer. He's not throwing the ball 40 times a game like we're seeing those guys, and he's giving a ton of action already to Lockett. DK Metcalf is really taking with him, but where are we going to get those extra targets from where he's going to be fantasy relevant and consistent? I mean, it's not that he's not doing that as much. They have that running game. I don't trust it, and I don't really trust Gordon. I think he's going to have maybe 1 or 2 fantasy relevant games where it's huge. But other than that, he's probably going to disappear. So if I have the chance, I'm selling him high.
Agreed. Yeah, I think he's going to be hyped up a little bit because the Seahawks do have a few games where they were passing quite a bit. It's kind of game script dependent, I think, because Russell, I think, had a game where he threw it like 45, 50 times this year. But there's games where he only throws
43
it like
43 against Tampa this week.
Yep. So I think
that was a shootout.
Exactly. There's game scripts that'll favor Russell Wilson, but you're never going to know what that game script's going to be, so it's going to be hard to play. Even a little bit of Metcalf gets hurt, I think. He's got that red zone ability as well, Josh Gordon does, so he might take some of those red zone targets away from Metcalf. I think Lockett, you're pretty much good to go. Don't worry about Lockett. Obviously, Russell Wilson, this actually helps Russell Wilson, gives him one more target to look for. So, yeah, I agree. We're getting a little long on the news and notes. I'm just going to touch on a few more things here. We know Adam Thielen re-injures his hamstring. Looks like he won't play Week 10. Might be out for a couple of weeks. So you're going to have to find some different options there. I don't know if you're going to find that option in Minnesota. You may have to go with a guy like Josh Reynolds or someone to fill in. Russell Gage is coming back from a bye week. I had him last week, added him as one of my guys, and he had 9 targets. So you can look for him on the waiver wire. We'll talk about those in a little bit here, but he's a guy that you might want to grab right now and fill in. Le'Veon Bell had an MRI. He might be out for a little bit as well. There's a guy that Ryan put in his waiver wire article this week. You can check it out at GoingFor2.com. That is actually the guy you want to try to add if you're in a deep league. So go out and look at that article, guys. This is a good player that was activated this week. And then Kareem Hunt is ready to return. I think it hurts Chubb's value a little bit. I don't think it hurts it enough that you're not going to play Chubb in your lineups. I think that Kareem Hunt will have a role. I don't think Chubb's going to be hurt necessarily by that, and I think that it just makes the Browns' offense better, which means that maybe there's more touchdowns going around. If there's more touchdowns, there's more fantasy points, and Nick Chubb might get some of those. All right, guys, didn't mean to run through all that really quick, but we had a lot to get to, and we're going to do some buy, sell, hold. So I checked it out. It looks like Yahoo and Sleeper, 2 of the bigger fantasy sites out there, their trade deadline is actually Week 10. I think ESPN's is a little bit later. But since there's a lot of people that play on those 2 platforms, I figured we go ahead and do like a trade podcast here. So we're going to do buy, sell, hold. Basically, a buy is someone, if you don't have them, you're going to try to go out and buy him before the trade deadline. Obviously, a sell is if you have him, and maybe he's doing really well right now, but you don't think it's going to maintain, you sell him. And a hold is just somebody, if you think he's going to continue doing what he's doing, you're just going to hold him. So we're going to kick it off with quarterbacks with you, Jason. We're going with Carson Wentz. And his remaining games are against the Patriots, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, the Giants, Washington, and Dallas. So it's a good little soft middle there. Some tough matchups there on the ends. What do you think of Carson Wentz? Buy, sell, hold?
I would actually buy him now just for those reasons, like you said. Yeah, sure, it's going to suck against the Patriots. Because they're actually first in points allowed per game by quarterbacks at only 7.4. That's ridiculous. So that, and then like you said, bookends are kind of tough here with Dallas. Then at the end, where they're 5th in points per game allowed at 12.1. But in the middle there, you got Seattle. I know everyone usually thinks about that vaunted defense, but they're 22nd and 18.9 points allowed per game. Miami's 27th with 21.7. And then the Giants are 24th with 19.5, and Washington 16th at 17 even. So nice little middle there. Like you said, those bookends are tough though, but I would buy them for that reason.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that this is the perfect opportunity because you got that Pats game coming up, and if you got an owner that's disappointed at what Carson Wentz has done so far, I think he might be QB9, QB10, somewhere in that range. But when you drafted him, you wanted him to be a QB2, QB3 in that range. And I think if he's looking at that Pats game like, crap, I got Carson Wentz again. If you can try to buy him from that owner for pretty cheap, you got a pretty good soft little middle there that you can use him. And that Miami, New York, Giants, Washington is actually in the fantasy playoffs, so that'll be a great little ad that you can get there for sure. So I agree, I'm buying as well. Ryan, we'll go to you with the other quarterback, Jared Goff. His remaining games are Steelers, Bears, Ravens, Cardinals, Seattle, and then I have Dallas written down, but that can't be right because I think unless it's it must be a bye week in there somewhere. But anyways, Dallas in Week 16. Jared Goff, Ryan, are you buy, sell, hold?
I am getting if I can sell Goff, I'm doing it. I kind of hate the matchups going forward. I mean, they're definitely tough. Pittsburgh are the buys this week. Then they got Pittsburgh, Chicago, Baltimore. Pittsburgh and Chicago both played really well in defense this year. Pittsburgh's getting to the quarterback. And like we said, Goff is looking a little bit rough. And Cook's going out isn't going to help that because he's their field stretcher, which means he's just going to keep forcing underneath to Cooper Kupp. Baltimore's defense is much improved since adding Marcus Peters. Arizona's not as good, but they got Patrick Peterson back. Seattle's okay. Then they have Dallas, San Francisco for weeks 15 and 16, which neither are great matchups. I don't like it going forward. I mean, they have to do something on offense, but they're not having that schedule that's really going to meet that. And he's only QB 17 right now. So if you can get any value, I'd do it.
Yeah, agreed. I think I'm going to sell as well on Jared Goff. I think that matchup plus the way he's played so far this season, you might not get what you want on it, but if you have like a Matthew Stafford, for example, on your bench maybe, and you can afford to trade off Jared Goff, maybe get somebody that doesn't realize how bad he's been this year, you can try to get some value out of Jared Goff. I would definitely do it for sure. All right, let's move to the running backs. And one guy we mentioned in our news and notes that had an MRI, we haven't heard any news on it yet if he's actually injured or not, is Mr. Le'Veon Bell. So he's got some good matchups to start off here with the New York Giants and the Washington Redskins. Oakland Raiders are actually really good against the run. He's got Oakland. Then he's got Cincinnati and Miami. Great matchups there. And then finishes off with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. What are you doing with Le'Veon Bell? Buy, sell, hold, Jason?
What was this injury history? This injury news. I don't know if you're going to be able to sell him. So
good point.
You're probably going to hold on to him. Hopefully he's not injured for 3 to 4 weeks. Could possibly happen because he's got some great matchups for if you want to make a playoff push here. Like you said, the Giants are 24th in points per game at 20.3. Washington's 26th at 21.3. Oakland's 14th at 18.2. Cincy 31st at 25.6.
Wow.
And then you got and then hopefully if he were hurt, he come back around Miami. They're 29th, 24.1 points. And then now the part that sucks is during your playoffs, he has some tough matchups there against Baltimore and Pittsburgh, who are 11th and 8th in points allowed, respectively. So, I'm holding on to him.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're gonna be able to sell him.
Yeah, I agree. I think this injury news came out after I had written this up, and I think right now would be the wrong time to sell him with this injury news. Now, if it comes back that he's got a clean bill of health, because he had an MRI earlier in the season too, everyone thought it was going to be a big deal, ended up being nothing. But let's hope he's healthy. He was getting volume, and if you get volume in fantasy football, even if you're not very good, you're still relevant. So Le'Veon Bell's actually pretty good. If he gets that volume, he can break out at any point. So I think I'm holding him as well. Let's go to Jordan Howard, Ryan. He's got some tough matchups here, but he got some soft ones as well. He's got the Patriots. Then he's got the same. Obviously, we talked about Carson Wentz's schedule. It's the same with Seattle, Miami, the Giants, Washington, and then Dallas. What are you doing with Jordan Howard?
I mean, with Jordan Howard, the only thing that really makes sense is hold. You're not going to get anything value for him for trade because he's like your old beat-up jalopy that gets you to work every day, and you can't get rid of because it doesn't have any value. But the thing is, he's gotten double-digit carries every game since week 3. His last 2 games, even though Miles Sanders gotten all the hype, he's had 23 and 19 carries against Buffalo and Chicago, who are both pretty good defenses, 96 and 82 yards respectively, which isn't bad. New England game's a really bad matchup, but after that, man, you can play him and not feel – I mean, you're not going to feel great about it, but you'll be able to get flex-worthy production out of him. Right now, he's sitting at running back 16,
wow,
which is shocking. He has 6 less points than Le'Veon Bell right now.
Wow.
But nobody cares because
it's Jordan Howard.
It's Jordan Howard.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really it, man. And he's not even owned everywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think he's got those spike games that he's had. He's had multiple touchdowns, and I think that kind of affects his overall point total. Makes you think he's actually been really good, but there's been weeks where he hasn't been very good at all.
Yeah, it's just like he doesn't touch the ball at all. No PPR value whatsoever.
None. Exactly. All right, Jason, let's go to you. And I got a guy that I was trying to buy this offseason. I thought he would be a pretty good stud here. He's been hit or miss. He's had some really good games, some really bad games. Mr. Marlon Mac, and his matchups are the Dolphins, the Jaguars, Texans, Titans, the Bucks, New Orleans, and Carolina in Week 16 championship week. What are you doing with Marlon Mac right now?
I'm going to try to sell him. He does have some favorable matchups in the beginning there with Miami and Jacksonville. Miami's 29th in points allowed per running back at 24.1. Jacksonville's 18th at 18.8. But then after that, you got Houston. They're 9th at 16 points per game. Tennessee, they're 15th, middle of the road at 18.4. Now, I couldn't believe this. Tampa Bay is 3rd.
Yeah, they're a beast run defense.
I was like, wait. And believe it or not, they're actually 1st in DVOA.
Yep.
I couldn't believe that either. I was like, what?
And yards allowed, too. If you go back to regular, it's crazy.
So that's a terrible matchup. Then you got New Orleans after that, which is another terrible matchup. They're allowing just 10.9 points per game, which is insane. So they're good for 2nd. But then you got Carolina there at the end, championship week. They're 28th. So, I mean, I would look maybe to try to trade him to a team who's trying to make a playoff push and maybe just try to take advantage of that whole situation. But, yeah, I'm definitely getting – and Marlon Mac. And I don't know if what's his name is going to be good to go. Brissett. I don't know. If he's not, I'm trading. I'm definitely trying to sell him.
Definitely agree 100%. I think I'm doing the same with him as well. And then I got one more running back, and then we'll get to the receivers. Ryan, of course, this guy just had a really good game. He had the holdout and then had a couple bad games. But Melvin Gordon, he's got some favorable matchups here as well with the Raiders and Kansas City in the beginning, Denver, Jacksonville, Minnesota, and then Oakland again to finish it out in Week 16. What are you doing with Melvin Gordon?
I think Melvin Gordon's somebody I'm going to try to still buy. I know it's probably a little bit higher than it should be, just because he did have a really good game with 2 touchdowns against Green Bay. But the thing is, he still has that stigma about him from that holdout and Eckler getting the hype he does. He's a complete game script dependent running back now. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, he's playing those games are going to be tighter and not as much in shootouts. So we'll see heavier volume in games against subpar teams. The only game I'm really worried about is the Kansas City one in Week 11, but I can survive that if we've made it this far. But down the playoff push, they should be tight with Denver. They should be tight with Jacksonville. Minnesota, if they're not fully healthy yet, also could be a tight game where they're running him a lot. If you make the championship against Oakland, they should be able to take the lead or at least keep it close and lean on him a lot more. Plus, he always has that touchdown upside. I mean, he has 3 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, and that volume's going to slowly tick up.
Yeah.
So he's somebody I'm going to try to get a hold of now. It may seem like you are buying a little bit high, but compared to what we've seen with him for the last 4 or 5 years, it may not be high. You're still underpaying an RB1 value.
Yep, I agree. I think that he could definitely be that RB1 down the stretch, have that second half sort of resurgence, and if you're looking to if you're a championship contender, you need that RB3, RB2 maybe, you can go out and buy him and just plug him in. And I think that the Chargers are always late bloomers. I mean, even Keenan Allen sometimes he's had those games or the seasons where he's like the last 6 games of the season he's a beast. So I think the Chargers are always late bloomers, and Gordon may just fall right into that category as well and have a good second half of the season. All right, let's move into the wide receivers now. And the guy we talked about a little bit earlier with his quarterback coming back, Nick Foles, Mr. DJ Chark. His matchups are the Colts, the Titans. He has the Bucks, the Chargers, Oakland, and Atlanta in Championship Week 16, which is a juicy matchup. What are you doing with Chark? Buy, sell, hold, Jason?
Oh, man, this is a hard one. Between hold and sell. Just my whole issue is we don't know how his chemistry with Foles is going to be. We don't know if he's going to be right where he was with Minshew, because we all heard. I'm pretty sure they said that Foles is definitely going to be starting. So I don't know, man. I guess for now I'll say hold, but if you can sell him, I would do it. Indiana, they're 13th points allowed with 21.1. Tennessee's 12th, but then you got Tampa Bay, who's, are you ready for this? They're 32nd in points allowed 30.4.
Yeah, that's
All
crazy.
right, points per game to receivers. So, holy cow. But then, he has the Chargers, who they're 8th, actually, 19.1. Oakland, they're 31st. And then Atlanta, they're just terrible as well. So, I mean, he makes a really good push for you there during the playoff weeks. But it's just, again, what's his chemistry with Foles going to be like? Yep. That's a big thing that throws everything up in the air,
Definitely.
Like, a receiver's only as good as the guy who throws him the pill. So.
Yep. Good, agreed, 100%. Yeah, going back to that Bucs defense. So our Friday show is actually a DFS show, and that's one of the teams that we target for passing game stats. Because we even saw it last week with Russell Wilson. We were all over Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett last week for our lineups, and it's almost like the Bucs are good at run defense because they're so bad at pass defense. You know what I mean? It's like, why run the ball when you can throw it all over the field as much as you want? So it's kind of productive, I think. All right, Ryan, let's go to you with a guy that I was actually buying a lot in the offseason. I really thought that Trubisky would take a step forward, and this would be a great connection to own. It's been not so great. Mr. Allen Robinson, his matchups coming forward are going to be the Lions, the Rams, the Giants, the Lions again, then the Cowboys, Green Bay, and then he has a good matchup at the end there with Kansas City. What are you doing with Allen Robinson?
I may try to sell him just for the fact, if you look at those matchups, we had Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, Jair Alexander. There's some tough matchups on there for him. And Mitch Trubisky has been playing like a dumpster fire. Like, there's nothing to be excited about there on that offense. I'm buying him probably in a dynasty format, but a redraft, if I can get rid of him, I probably will, because I'm not comfortable starting him the rest of the week out until, the fantasy championship. But if you're starting him every week, I wouldn't be as comfortable about making it to that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do love the KC matchup.
Yeah, I think where you drafted him at, he probably is your wide receiver 2, maybe your wide receiver 3. It's going to be tough to get value from him, but if you have one of those emerging receivers like maybe a DJ Shark, if you drafted him late, maybe you put Shark up there in your third or second receiver slot, and you can try to move Allen Robinson out of there. But yeah, I think early on we saw a lot of volume. It wasn't a lot of touchdowns or anything, but now we're not even seeing the volume anymore. So it's getting tough to own Allen Robinson for sure. All right, Jason, let's go to you for one of my favorite guys this year. He's having sort of a comeback season. Last year he started his comeback season, and then Lamar Jackson got the start, and it was all downhill for them. But Mr. John Brown, he's got the Cleveland Browns, the Dolphins, the Broncos, the Cowboys, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and then he's got the tough matchup at the end with the Patriots. What are you doing with John Brown?
Oh, I'm gonna try to sell him just because you said he's been playing really well. He's been having a good season so far, and just it's like the way his matchups go. It's like bad matchup, good matchup, bad matchup, good matchup. It kind of differentiates like that. So Cleveland's 9th points allowed, 19.7. Miami's 25th, 25.6. Then you got Denver, who's 4th. Dallas, they're 5th. Baltimore's 21st, Pittsburgh 17th, and you got New England. So, like I said, it kind of just alternates right there. So I would try to sell him, try to take advantage of the situation of how well he's been playing so far. Yeah,
I think also we got to take into effect too is weather. He plays in Buffalo. It's going to be cold as hell pretty soon. Maybe some snow there. Right. They're not throwing it quite as much. They are a run-first team, so that could be a detriment to him as well. But kind of a crazy stat is there's 2 receivers in the NFL right now that have had at least 50 yards receiving in every game this year, and one is Michael Thomas, obviously. The other one's John Brown, which is crazy to think that he's had that much production this year, but he has. So he's still a good receiver to me, but yeah, I'm definitely selling high on him. I think, like I said, run-first offense. It's going to be cold where he's playing. It's going to be snowing. It may not be a pass-friendly offense for sure. So yeah, if you can get something for John Brown right now, you definitely go out and do it. All right, Ryan, we'll go to you for the last receiver. And, of course, this is with the quarterback change. I think it's Finley starting this week for Andy Dalton. And we got Mr. Tyler Boyd, who's been a pretty good fantasy player. But now he has a new quarterback with his matchups being the Ravens, the Raiders, the Steelers, the Jets, the Browns, New England again. And then he finished up with Miami. Miami's a good matchup at the end there, but can we keep him that long?
Yeah, I believe Tyler Boyd's matchups coming forward, and I'm probably going to buy him. This week he has a bad matchup with Baltimore. Last time he had Marlon Humphrey on him and disappeared going 3 for 10 yards. But something big happens after that. And it's probably starting this week, and that's A.J. Green coming back. A.J. Green coming back changes everything. He's no longer pulling the top corner on every team, but he's getting less coverage. And he's also plays that role in the underneath where a young quarterback who needs a safety valve is going to live. And I think that's very good for his fantasy production. His efficiency is not going to be great, but I think that'll lead to a lot of volume for him. So he's somebody I'm buying low. And like I say, he has that matchup against the Jets coming up. Cleveland's been underperforming a little bit. New England Week 15 is rough, but make the Fans Championship with Miami there.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic, and I think you can get him at kind of a decreased enough value that you're not breaking the bank and you can afford to sit him in a bad matchup.
I agree 100%. And also, just looking at last year, they lost Dalton last year too to injury. And Jeff Driscoll was the quarterback to finish the season, and Tyler Boyd still had relevance in fantasy with Jeff Driscoll. And I know nothing about Finley. He could be worse than Jeff Driscoll for all I know. But I think Boyd is sort of quarterback proof because he is that underneath guy. He's that slot guy. He's the guy that's the easiest throw to make in the middle of the field for any quarterback. So I think he still gets volume, and he has that great matchup at the end there with the Dolphins. That if you make it that far, you're loving it. All right, I've only got 2 tight ends to talk about. So the first tight end I want to talk about is a guy who's been probably one of the biggest surprises in the NFL over the last couple of weeks. I believe he leads all tight ends in touchdowns. It may have changed this past weekend. I'm not sure, but I know for before the weekend started, he was the number 1 in touchdowns for tight ends. Mr. Darren Fells. His matchups are the Ravens, the Colts, the Patriots, the Broncos, the Titans, and the Bucks. What are you doing with Darren Fells right now, Jason?
I'm selling him. I'm selling him very fast as I can sell him because I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel he's extremely touchdown dependent. If he doesn't score, I'm looking at just in the past few weeks, 1 reception, 6-2, 6-2, 1, 5-1. Like he extremely touchdown dependent. He only reached over 50 yards twice.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm getting rid of him as fast as I can. You can't get him off my hands fast enough. So. Just on that alone, forget even the matchups, all right? He's just, like I said, extremely touchdown dependent. He really doesn't get that many looks. Yeah, get rid of him, especially while he's so high right now.
Agree. I think, like you said, he's touchdown. So pretty much every tight end in the NFL besides those top couple are touchdown dependent, but he's like to another level. I mean, he catches 1 pass for a touchdown. You see those guys that get those touchdown dependent kind of guys, they still get some catches in the middle of the field. They may not get a lot of yards, but he is like truly touchdown dependent, and sell him if you can get rid of him right now for sure. And Ryan, we saved the best one for last because this is your boy, I know. And me and you both had him in our top 10 coming into the season. We were one of the few that were actually on him. Mr. Mark Andrews. We saw last week they had 3 tight ends that were fantasy relevant. It seemed last week they were all catching passes, but he's got some good matchups here with Cincinnati, Houston, the Rams. Then he's got the 49ers, the Bills, the Jets, and Cleveland. What are you doing with Mark Andrews right now?
I'm trying to buy him. He's had back-to-back stinkers with 2 receptions for 39 yards and 2 receptions for 21 yards. But if you look a little closer, New England's just a bad matchup. New England takes away your best option. That's what they're known to do. And that Seattle game was a monsoon. There was just no passing in it. But outside of the New England game, you look at Andrews, his target's 8-9, 7-8, 7-8-8. He's consistently getting volume, which is more than you can say for 90% of the tight ends in the league. Plus, the way tight end is, outside of, 8 guys, you're just crying for a touchdown. And chances are you don't have a better option. So if you can get him at a decreased value because of some rough production the last 2 weeks, I'd say do it. And if you have him, hold him.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, I think I'm with you as well. I think he's just too good of a talent. This last game was an outlier. It was the Patriots. They probably had some special tricks and treats for the Patriots that that they wouldn't be ready for them. So, Doyle. Was it Doyle? Is that his name? Boyle, right? It's Boyle.
His first Nick Boyle, first touchdown in his 50 games in his career.
Yeah, don't go out and buy him, guys. I don't think
do not buy Nick Boyle.
Do not buy him, please.
He's a blocker.
Yeah, he definitely is. All right, guys, we'll take a quick commercial break here. When we come back, we're going to do some waiver wire picks, some sit starts, and, of course, the Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week. Hold tight.
In the unpredictable world of fantasy sports, when all hope seems lost and chaos and confusion rule, one hero will rise. And change everything. GoingFor2.com. Because no one remembers the extra point.
All right, guys, welcome back. I'm here with Ryan and Jason, and we just finished doing our buy, sell, hold segment. We're going to move into some stuff for your Week 10 lineups now. We'll start with the waiver wire pickups. Of course, it is Tuesday as we record this. If you listen to this in audio, it'll probably be too late for you guys, but if you're listening to it too right now on video, on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, you got some waiver wires, go ahead and put them in. Jason, you're the guest, so we'll go to you first. Give us one of your waiver wire pickups of the week.
All right, it's actually a tight end. I know because the tight end's not very deep, and it's probably a guy a lot of people forgot about. Might be a little homer on my part, but I'm going Old Man Witten. He's only
Nice.
owned in 50%. I looked at ESPN, guys. I'm sorry. He's only owned in 50% of those leagues. He had 8 receptions. He was targeted 12 times last night.
Nice.
He doesn't get a lot of touchdowns. He only has 2 on the season, but 4 games with 50-plus yards. And especially this weekend coming up against not this weekend. This weekend coming up, we play the Vikings. Might be a little bit tough matchup there, but Week 12, I know we're going to play the Patriots, which is a week I'm actually looking forward for him because we all know Bill Belichick. He likes to take out the tight end, he likes to take out your most important weapon. And right now, I don't know who you could say that is. It's either Cooper or Zeke.
Right.
So he'll try to take both those guys out, which will leave Old Man Witt open all day long because they'll just forget about him. And, so I see some nice target volume for him. Obviously, no yards after catch, but
Yes.
he'll definitely catch the ball, though. So
Yep.
Witten's probably he's my one waiver wire pickup.
Good stuff. I'm looking at teams that are on bye this week. So the Broncos, the Texans don't really have too many tight ends you want. I mean, I guess if you have Fant for the Broncos, you might be starting him. Jaguars don't have anybody. Patriots don't have anybody. Eagles, I guess Zach Ertz is the only one really that you're sort of on bye if you're looking for a tight end. But Witten is definitely a good pickup if you're struggling there at tight end. Tight end, really, if you do anything at all, I mean, you catch 4 passes for 20 yards, you're probably relevant in fantasy right now because the position is just so terrible. So Witten is as good as any right now. So I love that pick. All right, Ryan, what you got for your waiver pick?
I'm kind of getting a little wild card on this. I'm going to go one of my deeper ones. I'm going with Myles Gaskin.
You took mine.
Huh?
He took
Is
mine.
that
Go ahead.
running back for the Dolphins. Caleb Lodge is garbage. I mean, we're just going to be honest. He has no vision, and he's averaging like 3 yards a carry all throughout the season. And the Dolphins aren't going to be a team that's going to be playing with lead anyways, so they're going to need a passing back on the field, and that's Myles Gaskin. He's a fantastic receiver out of the backfield coming out of college, and I think it translates well to production now. Kenyon Drake's gone. Mark Walton's now suspended. They knew it was coming. It wasn't something new. But Gaskin's the next man up in that receiving role because, I mean, whether you're trying to lose or not, you can't be giving Caleb Lodge the ball that much.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just give you some more stats because I did some research on Myles Gaskins as well because I think he's also one of my favorite because I do play in a lot of deep leagues, so Gaskins is one of those guys that you're going to find on your waiver wire. So Balaj actually averages right now 2 yards per carry, which is even worse than 3 yards per carry that you said. Myles, and then to add to that, so he's got 12 targets on the season, 12 targets. He's caught 3 of them, which is bad.
Wow.
But then he's tied for 9th in drops with 3 drops on 12 targets. Are you kidding me? I don't want anything to do with Kellen Balaj. I think Gaskins, I had it in my top 50 for rookies coming into the season. I think he's got the ability. Obviously, Miami's not trying to win. They're tanking. So, why not put the rookie in there, see what he can do, see if they got anything at all for next year. So Myles Gaskins was my guy. I'm going to go ahead and give my other guy here, and then we'll go back around the table here. My other guy was Hunter Renfro. He's been coming on a lot lately. He actually led the team in targets this past weekend. He's scored now in back-to-back games. So Renfro, they're going to have positive game scripts quite often. The Raiders will. They'll be down, so they'll be throwing the ball a ton. So Renfro is the guy that's going to be a volume guy in his career. I don't think he's going to be that big play receiver, but he'll be that volume guy. And if you can get him right now down the stretch, they got some decent matchups. I think Renfro is a decent add as well. Jason, go ahead and give us one more of your waiver wire guys you got this week.
Actually, I'm staying with the Dolphins here as well. I'm going Devontae Parker.
Nice.
3 straight games of 55 plus. He scored a touchdown in 4 of the last 5 games. And like you said, they're going to be down. So they will be chucking the rock a lot. So, so I'm definitely going him. Like I said, he's also had receptions 4, 6, 5, 3, 4. So they're getting more involved because they're always losing.
Yep, agreed.
So, Devontae Parker.
And we all know Fitzpatrick loves to sling it to his receivers. He don't care if you're covered or not. He's throwing it there. So Parker can get that volume for sure. I love that call. All right, Ryan, bring us home.
ESPN, he's only owning like 23% of the league. So
good deal. Yeah, that's definitely.
And he's wide receiver 36 on the season. He was in my article.
Wow, good
and
stuff.
I was shocked to see that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's him. I'm going to go with the guy who's available in 62% of leagues on ESPN right now, and that's going to be the starting running back for the Tampa Bay Bucks this week, Ronald Jones. I loved Ronald Jones coming out, cooled on him for a little bit because I just didn't think they were giving in. But we're back-to-back games with double-digit carries, with 11, now 18. They publicly stated this week that they want to get him more involved in the offense. And it's about time because Peyton Barber's just a guy. Give the kid some volume. He has the ability to break the big play at any single time. He has some nice matchups coming up with Arizona, Atlanta on the slate, and then Houston down in the championship week. So if he's getting volume and he's double-digit carry guy every week here on out, you can't not roster him, and he's available everywhere.
Yep, definitely agree. And it's funny you had those two guys because actually when I was doing Myles Gaskin's research, I looked up on Player Profile, and his comp actually is Ronald Jones. So, it's basically the same kind of guy over in Miami. So I think you got basically the same guy there.
Except Jones can't catch.
Yeah, exactly. Except Jones can't catch. Myles Gaskins can. And then I just want to point it out. I saw it in the article today, Ryan. I gotta call it out. You had my boy, Mr. Mike Gesicki, in the free agent waiver wire pickup this week. I know you hate on him, but he made the article.
Yeah, I know, man. I picked him up my Dynasty League this week. I can't believe he was dropped.
I love it.
I messaged you about it. I wasn't shy. I felt real gross about it because I've been nothing but bagging on him before he got drafted. My feelings haven't changed, but his situation is good. He's getting volume now, and volume trumps talent at times.
The crazy thing is I'd given up on him. I actually dropped him in my Dynasty League, so now I don't even own him anymore. And now you own him, and you were hating on him all off season.
And just like you with Ronald Jones this year.
Yep, exactly. Just situation reversed. Good stuff. All right, guys, let's do some sit starts now for this Week 10 matchups. And Ryan, we'll stay with you this time. Let's go with quarterbacks first. Give me your start quarterback of the week.
I don't have it up. My start quarterback this week's Kyler Murray. I love the matchup against Tampa. We talked about it earlier. Tampa's 32nd against the pass.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everybody's lighting him up. Arizona throws the ball around. They basically just give it everywhere, spread them out, throw it as much as they can, and a shootout versus Tampa is going to be money. I'm going to have Kyler Murray probably pretty close to being in my top 6 or 7 quarterbacks this week.
Yep, I agree. I love Kyler Murray as well. I actually had him as my start as well, but so I'll go ahead and just throw that out there. He's my start. Jason, who's your start quarterback this week?
You know, the funny thing is I almost picked Kyler Murray. The guy I'm going to go with, I'm going Lamar Jackson against the Bengals. The Bengals are just garbage. They're terrible.
Yeah.
So I just expect him to light him up in every way possible, passing, running, everything. So, I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. Agreed. I don't think much needs to be said about that.
Yeah, there's a crazy stat about the Bengals. So before their bye week, I think it was Ryan McDowell tweeted this stat out. He was tweeting out teams that have given up the most RB1 or RB2 games this season. At that point, I think they played 7 games. And the Bengals have given up 11 RB1 or RB2 games this season. So they had games where they had multiple running backs get an RB1 or RB2. It's insane that they're just that bad.
Yeah, Lamar had 30 points against Cincinnati last time they played.
Yeah, so he's definitely locked in for me as well. All right, Ryan, go ahead and give us your sit quarterback of the week.
My sit this week is going to be Matt Stafford. I know Chicago hasn't been great this year, or hasn't been playing up to what their par is, but you know what? Their defense is. They haven't had the production on offense. They're grinding the ball out. They're not going to give him a ton of volume to pass with. They get pressure on the quarterback. I think they make it a really, really rough game for Stafford. And I'm going to shy away from it, even though I know he's played out of his mind this year and has a ton of weapons. I don't love the matchup.
All right, Ryan, me and you've been on this show way too long, apparently, because now we're starting to have the same exact picks, because I, too, had Matt Stafford as my sit of the week. His history against the Chicago Bears is not a good one. I think if you have Matt Stafford, you might have to start him, because he's just been that good. But if you've got a better option on your bench, I would definitely, bench him this week against that Chicago Bears defense for sure. All right, Jason, what you got for your sit of the week?
I'm actually going to say the same game I mentioned before, and I'm going with the new starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, Mr. Finley. We saw what the Ravens did to Tom Brady, so I expect it's going to be nothing but hell for Mr. Finley that day.
What a bad game to start with.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good day for him at all.
Definitely agree. And I think Finley actually might be started in some Superflex leagues. I know there's a couple guys out there that are in sort of smaller leagues where he wouldn't be. But in Superflex leagues and some leagues, he's probably going to be one of the highest waiver wire pickups if he's not already, because there's not a lot of quarterbacks in those leagues. So I think that he would be started in some situations.
I think I might start a running back over him. Seriously,
yeah,
maybe some tight ends. I'm not kidding.
I think he's going to be a bad. He might get negative points for you.
I actually have that decision in my Dynasty Superflex league, and I'm probably going to start running back.
Yeah,
I definitely would.
Definitely
Absolutely.
Would. All right, Ryan, let's go to you for the running backs this week. Who is your start of the week?
Jeff, go first. I don't want to steal one.
All right. I'm going to go with my start of the week, Mr. Devin Singletary. He's going to the Browns. The Browns give up the third most yards to running backs. We saw Devin Singletary last week. If y'all watched this Friday show, my DFS show, Singletary was my sick call of the week, basically a value guy that hasn't been doing too well. We always pick our sick calls of the week. He was my sick call of the week. He went off. Even the week before that, when Gore and him had basically the same amount of stats, Singletary played 42 snaps compared to Frank Gore's 18. So he actually took the lead role the week before he kind of broke out. This past week, he had the Redskins. He broke out, had a great game, scored a touchdown. I think that he's going to be the lead back going forward. Frank Gore will be the secondary guy, and I think that this matchup with the Browns is just too good to pass up. So Devin Singletary is my start of the week. Jason, we'll go to you now. Who is your start running back of the week?
Well, now I'm worried because of the news that just came out recently, but I was going to go Le'Veon Bell against the Giants. We saw what – I know he's not the same caliber, but we saw what Zeke and Pollard recently did against them, and the fact that I felt – before this injury news, that they were going to get him a lot more involved in the passing game and everything. So he was just a sure volume guy, and especially in PPR formats. So I was actually going Lev Bell with the Giants, but
yeah, pending injury news. We'll see what happens with that. We still haven't heard anything, so pending injury. I think he could still be a start if he plays.
Yeah, but Giants right now, they're allowing 20.3 points a game to running backs.
Yeah,
so
can't beat that. All right, Ryan, who you got for your start?
I'm sticking with my free agent who I brought up. I'm starting Ronald Jones this week. I'm actually doing this one myself. Arizona's not a great defense. It's going to be a shootout, which may not lead to him getting a ton of carries, but it could be a lot of red zone work for him. And I'm probably going to touchdown chase on a little bit and hope for a big play because Arizona is a team that can give that up at any time. And like I said, we have a lot of bye weeks this week, and they're promising volume, so I'm starting Ronald Jones.
All right, good stuff. I'll go ahead and give my sit of the week since I started this one off. My sit this week actually is any Cardinals running back. And there's two reasons for that. One we talked about already with the Bucs being the number one DVOA team in the league right now versus the run. And the last, dead last in pass versus, for quarterbacks and receivers. I know Dave Johnson's pretty good, and you probably got to start him if you drafted him. But I think that with what Drake did last week, he's going to take some snaps away from David Johnson. They want him, to stay healthy, David Johnson, so they're going to limit his role a little bit. And I'm going to bench any of those guys that I have if I have a better option. Obviously, DJ, if you got him, you probably don't got a better option. You probably have to start him, but I'm going to temper my expectations with those guys. All right, Ryan, we'll go to you this time with your sit. Who's your sit running back?
I'm sitting Devonta Freeman this week. He's been doing okay in the receiving game. He's kind of disappeared as a passer, disappeared as a runner. And I don't trust against New Orleans. New Orleans is playing lights out on defense. They're going to put up they should put up a lot of points against the Falcons, forcing them to pass the ball more and making it more of a shootout, kind of killing the game script for Freeman. I don't trust him right now, and I'm going to bench him if I can.
All right. Did we lose you, Jason? I'm not seeing you right now.
Yep.
Are you still here?
No, I'm here.
Okay, you're still here. I just don't have video of you right now, so we'll go to you. Who is your sit running back this week?
This is going to be a surprise, but I'm actually going Dalvin Cook versus the Cowboys. We pretty much shut down Saquon Barkley this week. I think he only had like 30 yards rushing. He had that one big pass. That was pretty much about it. With no Thielen, he's probable, but I don't know if he's going to play. It'll make it easier to just take out Diggs. Other than that, they really don't have much else going on offense. Adding Michael Bennett, making him, kind of one to, basically shutting down the run where they could just become one-dimensional, just passing the ball. So, I'm going to go with the surprise here and go Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook, wow. If you're benching Dalvin Cook, you got some big balls because, man, he's been amazing so far this year. But, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a tough situation. I think you're probably going to have to start him just because of how good he's been. I think he's one of those guys you just plug in and pray. But if you happen to have another running back that you can plug in there, someone maybe that kind of came up and has got a good matchup, you can go with him. But, yeah, good one there. All right, Ryan, we'll start with you this time. Give me your wide receiver start of the week.
My wide receiver start of the week is Robbie Anderson. I think we've seen some bad play out of the Jets, but nothing like a matchup against the Giants to kind of spark that for them. They're not a great team against the pass, and Robbie Anderson's, again, the kind of guy who just needs one or two plays to make a big play and make a splash in the game. He's somebody Darnold's trusted. Getting back, it's going to slowly build that rapport, especially with him being, seeing ghosts and trying to get his mojo back. I think this matchup's the kind where he's going to break out a little bit.
Good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and give my start of the week for receiver. And I'm going with Mr. Emmanuel Sanders for the 49ers. We know the Seahawks defense is just not very good. We saw last week what Seattle did to them. And Jimmy G and Manny Sanders seem to have a very good connection there. So I think that he has enough volume that he's going to be good in that game. There will be some points scored in that game for sure. And I think Sanders is the one that he looks for in the red zone as well. So give me some Emmanuel Sanders this week. All right, who's your start wide receiver this week, Jason?
So I'm actually, it kind of sucks I'm saying these same games, but I'm going to go with Golden Tate. And he's just more of a pure volume guy as well. Shepard is still in concussion protocol. I just feel that the Jets, the one thing they do actually kind of well is safety play. So I feel like they'll be able to at least put Jamal Adams on Ingram a little bit and not take him out of the game, but somewhat neutralize him. So it's pretty much just going to be Golden Tate and Saquon Barkley that are going to be available for them in the passing game. So, so I'm going to go Golden Tate on that one. And, the Jets secondary has not been very good this year either.
Yep, agreed. And I think that I saw a note about Ingram getting I don't know if he got an MRI or if he had some kind of ankle sprain. So he might be questionable as well. So, that would definitely be another reason to do that. All right, let's go to the sit side of things, Ryan. What you got for your sit this week?
My sit this week is going to be Juju Smith-Schuster. He's been nothing but disappointing lately. A lot of it's not him. A lot's the quarterback situation. Mason Rudolph is averaging 6.6 yards per pass attempt, which is preposterous.
You can't say
and
the
it's
word.
just not, my words just stop it. His air yards are 6.7 yards. It's not there for him. He's just dumping it off. Their numbers 2, 3, and 5 receivers are their running backs.
Wow.
James Conner still has the second most receptions on the team, which isn't great for the future outlook for Juju alongside Mason Rudolph's there. Also, he's going to be getting Jalen Ramsey in man coverage, probably shadowed, which is another negative. So I'm fading him this week. I don't want anything to do with it. And it's gotten to the point where he used to be a start every week, no matter the matchup.
Yep.
I don't feel that way right now.
Agreed. All right, Jason, who is your sit receiver of the week?
Anyone playing the Patriots?
That's nice.
I mean, that's just pretty much about it. I think they're allowing 7.5 points per game to wide receivers right now, which is absolutely insane, just like their quarterback position. So honestly, for the rest of the season, even when my Cowboys play them, I would definitely probably look to sit Cooper because, like I said, they try to take out their best receivers. So, just whoever's playing the Patriots, I'm not touching them with a 10-foot pole.
Agreed. Yeah, they're just good in the secondary for sure, and one target pretty much every game. So I think that definitely going forward, that will be a good pick. So my sit of the week is any Seahawks receiver not named Tyler Lockett. So your DK Metcalfs, your Josh Gordons, if he plays, bench him. Don't start him. I know Metcalf had a big game last week. He had the touchdowns there. Josh Gordon's an exciting player that's going to go to a good offense. You may want to plug him in as well, but against that Niners defense, I don't know if I want to do it. I mean, they're number one right now against the pass. I don't buy it personally as a 49ers fan that they're number one against the pass. I just think that pass rush is just so good that they just don't get tested very much against deep. We saw last week that the Cardinals were able to test us deep in the secondary, and it kind of helped them out a lot. So, but Metcalf, I think, still is going to have a rough time being a rookie, and Josh Gordon still learning the offense. Bench both those guys this week. All right, Ryan, you gave us your sit right already.
Yeah, Juju.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay. Let's go to tight end then. Ryan, who is your tight end that you're going to start this week? Actually, you know what? Let's do sit first because I got one that's on start that no one's going to see coming.
Start out with sit first. I may have lost that part on my page.
Jason, let's go to you first. Who is your sit tight end of the week?
So for right now, dang it, I just lost it too. But just looking at purely the point standpoints. I mean, who are the 49ers playing this week?
The Seahawks.
Yeah, absolutely then, because who the heck they don't even know who their tight end is right now.
Hollister right now, I think.
Week. So, I'm going to go 49ers against Seahawks. I'm definitely going to take 49ers. And they're only allowing 2.6 points per game to tight ends.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, I think their boy Hollister had 2 TDs last week. He'll be a hot waiver wire pickup, but he's got a very tough matchup going against the 49ers. They got some good linebackers, some good coverage safeties as well, so Hollister's going to have a hard time getting those touchdowns this week. My sit this week, and Ryan's going to probably scoff at this, but Ravens tight ends. I need to see it. Mark Andrews have one of those games again because I'm getting nervous. I saw Hurst this past week. We obviously saw Boyle. We saw Andrews get, I think, a couple catches as well. But if I have a better option, now granted, Mark Andrews is a really good tight end. I think he's going to be good going forward. But I got to have a decent option that I can plug in there. I'm not going to plug in a guy like Hollister or something like that. But if you got a decent, if you have Darren Waller, for example, bench Mark Andrews and put in Darren Waller for sure. All right, Ryan, who you got for your sit?
I'm going to go somebody he mentioned earlier, and that's Darren Fowles. It's not Darren Fowles. God dang it, my brain just stopped tonight. I am so sorry.
You're good, man. You're good. It happens.
I did not have enough caffeine in me. Actually, the guy I'm going to sit this week is Njoku for Cleveland. I don't like the matchup against Buffalo. I think Buffalo's defense has been fantastic this year. Cleveland's running around like a chicken with its head cut off. And I want nothing to do with that offense this week. And I know tight ends, rough go, and I'm not trusting that.
Yep. Okay, I agree. I didn't hear who you said, but whoever the tight end for the Browns is right now. So, yeah, definitely bench him.
ASJ.
Oh, okay. I didn't know who that was. I didn't know they even had him right now. So, good stuff. All right. And then let's go to our starts. Jason, you want to go first with the start tight end of the week?
Sure, I'm going to go with a guy who's been having a pretty good resurgence so far this year, Mr. Hunter Henry, going against the Oakland Raiders, and they are right now 30th in points allowed to tight ends at 10.9.
Nice.
So He's been getting a lot of volume lately. He's been doing his thing. He's kind of been the guy that everyone kind of hoped he would be like 20 years ago. So I'm going to go Hunter Henry.
All right, good stuff. I love it. All right, Ryan, we're going to you this time. Start of the week for your tight end. What you got?
My start of the week at tight end is actually going to be Max Williams for Arizona. I think, like we were talking before, Tampa Bay is just giving up everything in the passing game. And Max Williams has flashed a little bit in super deep and has that chance to get touchdowns or get in the end zone against a team that's giving up a ton of yardage. So, I mean, outside of your top 8 guys, it's just a coin flip who you think could score. And I'm trusting a team going against Tampa's defense over anything else.
Yep. All right. I agree. All right. So my start, like I said, is going to kind of be a little contrarian here. But if you drafted this guy, you have been severely disappointed. But this is the week. This is O.J. Howard week. He's playing the Cardinals. The Cardinals have been terrible against the tight end. I mean, terrible. I think Hawkinson had a big game. I think Disley had a big game.
They're actually dead last.
What was that?
They're dead last against tight ends at 14.7 points per game.
Dead last. I know it's a big thing on the DFF show. We talk about them just plug and play whoever the tight end is versus the Cardinals. And I'm going to go with O.J. Howard, my boy. I got to start him this week. I know it's rough. It's a little scary proposition, but I think O.J. Howard gets off this week. I think he has at least a touchdown and 50 yards plus. So put O.J. Howard in there. All right, guys, let's get to the Forgotten Player of the Week.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, Jason, we don't have video of you still, so we still got you fully on audio, but go ahead and give us your Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, so actually, I called there. The guy I'm going to go with, I don't know if a lot of people remember him. I actually brought him up on Twitter recently when they were doing the whole, I don't know if you guys were on this chain where they were doing the whole Do You Remember? So I'm going to go back to 2008. All right, so we're going, 11 years back now.
Nice.
To Mr. Steve Slayton.
Oh, wow.
I see.
Yes.
Houston Texans, right?
Right.
Well, WVU.
What was that?
I say he went to WVU.
Yeah, WVU. And with, I think they had Pat White that year, too, at quarterback.
Yeah.
So that year, he had 268 rushes for 1,282 yards, 9 touchdowns,
nice.
59 targets, 50 receptions, 377 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Nice. He had
so
50.
He had almost 1,600 total yards and 10 touchdowns.
He had 50 receptions.
And 50 receptions.
Wow. Back then, it wasn't a thing that you'd had, that many catches from a running back then.
And he only played in 15 games. I mean, only, but still. And he didn't come close to ever producing that ever again.
Yep.
Like, ever.
One-hit wonder.
His next best season was 437 yards.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, it was pretty bad.
Huge one-hit wonder.
Right. So yeah. So, I'm going to go Steve Slayton in 2008. If you had basically that whole duo on offense for the Houston, and I think that's when, what the heck's that receiver's name?
Hopkins, Andriod Johnson.
Andriod Johnson, that was it. Yeah, all 3 of them were killing it that year.
Yep.
So if you got that little triple going on, you were doing really good in your fantasy league that year. But yeah, Steve Slayton, 2008.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
Funny story, Steve Slayton. I went and saw him play. I live in Pittsburgh. I went to West Virginia Pitt in 2006. I had to look up what the year was. He went 23 for 215 and 2 touchdowns the game I went to.
Wow. That's
and their quarterback also rushed for 150 that game as well.
Wow. Man, that's crazy. That is crazy. All right, I love that one. That's a great one because I think actually that year that you're talking about, I believe I owned him that year, and that was a championship year for me. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he kind of filled in for Arian Foster's, I believe.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, because I think I owned Arian Foster's. He ended up getting hurt. I added Steve Slayton, and it was like sort of a great season after that because he killed it going forward. So great one for sure. All right, let's go ahead and go around the room. Give your Twitter handles where we can follow you, what you're working on currently at your website or whatever. Jason, we'll go to you first, man. What you got for us?
Twitter again is at DFFJ Waltner. You basically just find me just on Capology 101, just break down the salary cap. It's pretty much what I do. And if you have any questions on Twitter, feel free to shoot them over. I actually, believe it or not, I actually enjoy reading the CBA and player agreements. So, yeah, I'm kind of geeky like that. But it's all right. Someone needs to break it down.
Love it. All right, Ryan, where can we follow you at?
Follow me, Ryan Sirfos at Fancy FB Connect on Twitter. Find me here every Tuesday. Promise not missing any more. Find my waiver articles on Tuesdays as well. I have a draft breakdown on the Dynasty Draft Room coming out on Friday on Keyshawn Vaughn for Vanderbilt, and has more stuff coming out on the way.
Good stuff. All right, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. You can find me here every Tuesday and Friday night. Friday will be our DFS show. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out, guys. That's a wrap.